Hey everyone, ready to dive into some seriously cool art?
I am.
Today we're tackling René Magritte's The Son of Man.
Yes.
That one,
Go for it. With the
bowler hat, the apple.
mysterious owl.
So mysterious. I mean, it's iconic, this painting.
Immediately iconic.
But there's so much hidden meaning there too, don't you think?
Layers and layers, which is why we're here, right?
We got some great sources to help us break it all down. For those unfamiliar, René Magritte was this Belgian surrealist painter. And, well, his work is all about messing with your head a little bit.
Making you question what you see, reality versus not reality.
Exactly. And The Son of Man, this was done just 3 years before he died. It feels, I don't know, almost like a combination of his ideas, like there's extra weight to it.
You're onto something there. Late career Magritte, his style and philosophy had really evolved by this point.
All right, let's start with the basics. We see a man in a bowler hat and suit.
Very Magritte.
Very Magritte. But then, boom, the apple right in front of his face.
It's the first thing you notice, isn't it?
It's like the central mystery. Why the apple? What's he hiding? Or maybe even what's he revealing?
Well, interestingly enough, Magritte himself actually talked about this painting.
He did.
He did. He called it a representation of the struggle between the, hold on, I've got the quote here somewhere, hidden visible and the apparent visible.
Whoa.
And he suggests that this struggle is happening within the viewer.
I can see that. I mean, just looking at it, I feel like I'm missing something. Like, there should be a face behind that apple, but we only see one eye.
Exactly.
So then, is the hidden face the real Son of Man? Or is the Avale the real subject?
He's playing with us, isn't he?
He is. And it's funny because his style is so realistic.
Meticulous detail.
But then he throws in something absurd like that apple, and suddenly nothing makes sense, which was kind of surrealism's whole deal, right?
Oh, absolutely. Challenging those perceptions of what's real, what's a representation.
Speaking of the apple, though, it's green, almost glowing green. And I've noticed that Magritte uses green apples a lot.
Oh, he does.
Is there some deeper meaning there?
Oh, most definitely. When you see a green apple, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, food, I guess.
Fair enough. But beyond that, think a little more symbolically.
Symbolically, Garden of Eden.
And oh, forbidden fruit, Adam and Eve.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. So
Yeah.
the apple represents temptation, original sin,
Mhm.
even a commentary on human nature itself.
You're getting it. And then consider the title, The Son of Man.
Whoa. So it's not just any apple. It's tied into this whole biblical idea.
Exactly. The son of Adam, burdened with sin, but also, potentially, the son of God, offering a redemption. All those layers in one image.
Magritte was packing a lot in there.
Yeah.
He loved wordplay too, didn't he? So Son of Man, it could be any man.
Any of us.
This universal symbol, man, he was clever.
A master of his craft.
Okay, but what about the man himself? There's something so generic about him, yet so. Magritte.
Yeah.
Like a character we've seen before.
Right. The Magritte man, some call him. Bowler hat, the suit. No real defining features.
Almost like a blank slate.
Exactly, for the viewer to project onto.
So he's almost anonymous, in a way.
Symbolic rather than individual. But here's where it gets interesting. That was Magritte's style. He dressed like that.
Wait, so is this a self-portrait?
Could be. Some art historians believe it is. But then, by hiding his face,
Sure.
he's also kind of mocking the idea of self-portraiture, the artistic ego.
Haha, subverting expectations,
Yeah.
even with something as personal as that. Oh, there's one detail that always gets me, though. The eye.
The eye.
Only the left eye is visible, peeking out from behind the apple. It's almost unsettling, don't you think?
Definitely a focal point. And it leads us to a big question.
Which is?
What's the meaning behind that single visible eye? Well, this is where things get really interesting and kind of sad, too. Magritte's personal life, it kind of weaves into the art here. When he was a teenager, his mother, she committed suicide.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
And the way she was found, her face was partially covered, only her left eye was visible.
That's haunting. It adds a whole other dimension to that idea of the hidden visible, right? Like, we're talking about literal hiddenness here.
Exactly. So now the eye in The Son of Man, it could be about mourning, grief, maybe even repressed trauma, a glimpse into Magritte's own hidden emotions.
Subtle but powerful.
Very.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Magritte never actually confirmed that connection directly.
Right.
But it's hard to ignore, isn't it? And it makes you think, what else is he hiding in plain sight? Are there other personal experiences woven into this painting?
We might never know. But that's part of what makes it so
It
fascinating.
keeps us guessing, keeps us looking deeper.
Okay, we've talked about the apple, the man, the eye. But what about the rest of it? The setting's pretty simple. A wall, some clouds.
You think that's just background noise?
Well, I mean,
Magritte chose everything careful.
oh, I'm sure. I just meant, is there symbolism there too?
Yeah. There could be. The wall, for example. It could represent barriers, the ones we build between ourselves and the world.
Or maybe the limitations of how we see the world.
Exactly. And then the clouds. They're kind of floating there, detached.
Above it all. Freedom.
Hmm.
Or maybe the unknown. Like
Yeah.
what's beyond our reality.
See, you're getting it. It's all open to interpretation.
Mhm.
That's what makes Magritte so cool. He's not giving us answers, he's giving us possibilities.
It's like a puzzle with no right solution.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, the Son of Man itself, it's become so iconic.
Oh, absolutely.
Beyond just the art world, you know?
Yeah.
It's in movies,
Yeah.
ads, even memes.
It's everywhere.
Why do you think this image in particular has resonated so much with people?
Well, maybe because it's so open to interpretation. It's like a visual Rorschach test. Everyone sees something different in it.
And that's what Magritte wanted, right?
Yeah.
He didn't want to tell people what to think.
He wanted them to think for themselves, which is kind of radical, even today. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
We're always being told what to think, what to buy, what to believe.
And then comes Magritte with his apple and his bowler hat, saying, nope, figure it out yourself.
Exactly. And maybe that's why it's still so powerful today. It's a reminder that there's always more than meets the eye,
Hidden layers everywhere.
that we have to work to uncover,
Be curious.
be critical.
Exactly. So, coming back to that quote about the struggle.
The hidden and the apparent.
Yeah. Do you think that was personal for Magritte? I mean, we know about his mother now. That's a huge loss.
Mm-hmm.
Was he also struggling with his own hidden emotions, his own, I don't know, inner demons?
It's possible. Art can be a way to process those things, right? To work through pain or fear or even joy.
And I think with Magritte, it's safe to say there was a lot going on beneath the surface, both in his life
Yeah.
and his art.
Which leads us back to that central question, what are's behind the apple?
Mm-hmm.
A face, a feeling, a symbol.
Or all of the above.
Maybe. That's for each of us to decide. Regret gives us the pieces, we got to put them together ourselves.
Find our own meaning. And that's what keeps the painting alive, isn't it? That act of looking deeper, of wondering. So I guess the question is, where does that leave us? We've looked at all this symbolism, all these possible connections to Magritte's life. We even talked about how famous the painting is.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
But why does it matter? Why should anyone care about some guy hiding behind an apple?
Because I think it teaches us something about how we see the world.
How so?
Magritte's asking us to question what we see, to not take things at face value, look deeper, embrace the mystery.
You know, it's funny. This whole thing, the Son of Man, kind of reminds me of what we do.
With these deep dives.
Yeah. We take all this information, these sources, and try to pull out the important stuff, the insights.
The hidden meanings.
Exactly. But just like with a painting, there's always more to uncover, more to think about.
That's a brilliant connection, because it's true, right? Whether it's art or history or whatever we're diving into, the journey is just as important as the destination.
Yeah, the process of discovery, figuring things out.
And Magritte, he reminds us that the world is full of those hidden meanings, those layers of complexity. It's up to us to engage with that, to come to our own WN conclusion.
He's basically giving us permission to be curious, to ask questions, to not just accept what we're told.
Especially today, when everyone's trying to tell us what to think, what to buy.
It's refreshing almost to have someone like Magritte come along and say, nope, figure it out yourself.
Right. Use your brain. Look closer. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Son of Man,
Yeah.
I want you to imagine yourself standing in front of this painting, the man in the bowler hat, the apple. What do you see?
What secrets does it hold for you?
Take a moment, think about it. Let your imagination go wild.
Because ultimately, the true meaning of the Son of Man,
Is the one you create for yourself.
nicely said. And remember, everyone, this was just one deep dive into one work of art. There's a whole world out there full of amazing things to explore, to think about, to get curious about.
Keep looking, keep questioning, keep diving deep.
That's what we'll be doing, that's for sure. Until next time, everyone.